Awesome. Anybody else? How are you guys doing tonight while I go ahead and pull all this up on YouTube and make sure it's done the right way? How are you guys
Hello,
doing?
hello, Jenny. How are you?
Wonderful. And yourself?
I am doing very well, thank you.
How was your weekend?
Oh man, it was pretty good, very relaxing.
You can't beat that, let me tell you. A
No
relaxing
man,
weekend, well, except for maybe a busy, exciting one. That kind of does, in my opinion, beat that.
right?
Definitely does. Well, welcome tonight, guys. All right, so a couple of things. As you guys know, this is going to be recorded and it is live on YouTube. So welcome everyone to the Super EZ Beginners class. So this is a public class. This is kind of open to the public at this point. And there's going to be quite a few changes. So I'm going to go over a lot of stuff. Bear with me for all the mumbo jumbos and the kind of all over the place, if you will. So we have a couple of questions in one of the chat rooms that I will do my best to get to tonight. And please, 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 I encourage you, use this time to step up and ask your questions. The chat is overwhelmingly large. So if you have questions, please don't be afraid, don't be intimidated to come out and step up. That's what we're here for. So a couple of things, as you guys know, first thing I will go over is don't trade what you cannot afford to lose. Everything we're getting ready to discuss right now is obviously for educational purposes only. Nothing I say can or will be used against me in the court of law or what have you. I'm not your tax accountant person, your CPA, your financial advisor, your legal advisor of any kind. So, Forex and trading and investment as a whole, business in general, is a high risk activity. So, simply put, don't trade what you can't afford to lose. And whereas you guys know I'm a super advocate for, I use the expression burning your boats, like Tony Robbins would say, that whole concept. I'm big on that. But in today's economic climate, with everything going on with COVID and elections and just drama on every continent across the globe, just please be mindful first before you take obnoxiously risky decisions. So that's my piece on that. So I'm going to leave it on this annoying screen for a half of couple minutes or so while I go over a couple of things. First and foremost, as you guys know, Uncle P did release the brand new scanner. So if you don't have that or you're having issues getting that, please, please, please be patient. As Miss Donna was saying, the emails are overwhelming. Please, for the love of God, watch the installation video. Even myself, and keep in mind, I'm at this for a while, so I'm pretty savvy or reasonably savvy enough to drag and drop some indicators. But even I had to watch the video. So just so we're on the same page, you will save yourself a whole heck of a lot of problem if you stop emailing and start watching from beginning to end. You will know everything you need to know about how to do it and the strategy that he was promoting with it. So good job if you've done that, and if not, please do that prior to seeking out any other advice. So tonight we will also go over kind of that scanner and some tips and tricks and some things that I will look at. There was a few questions in the chat that I will get to, but prior to doing that, kind of a big announcement is if you guys are not already in the Super EZ Advanced Membership Group, I know that Uncle P is working on the description for that website and he'll have it up within the next couple of weeks. But either way, please consider joining that. In there, we're not only going over more scalping strategies, but there's a couple of other really cool tools and access to some other things that you guys may want to be a part of. So that's number one. Number two, I did have a meeting with Uncle Pete today, and we discussed possibly, since this indicator is able to do what we would call high volume trading, something that another company that I've well known to be a part of many years ago had a nice little cool tool that did that. Problem with the one that they have, although beautiful in many ways, is it had so many options. It had so many different, so much on there that it was overwhelmingly, unfollowable. So there was nothing you could really do with it at the end of the day, because every time you try to pick something, there was a new something, and it just became super haphazardous and ineffective for most people. However, since I'm pretty good at scalping, caught out a couple of trades this morning. Some people got a whole bunch of pips. I only caught one of the ones I called. Go figure. But I'm pretty good at scalping in general. So if I have a high volume trade alert system and maybe a few extra pairs of eyes from some of our amazing team and volunteers in the group, because I am only one person. I did talk to Uncle Pete today, and the idea is I'm going to start going live on YouTube at least once a week, possibly more. Odds are it'll only be once a week on live on YouTube, and then at least once or twice in our little private group. That's step 3 on the website. So this is going to be a super informal hangout. It's not going to be some massive question oriented hangout, that lasts multiple hours and is structured and is, lots of detailed information. This is going to be, hey, I'm in front of my computer, probably in my pajamas and a tank top, or tank top and a messy bun. I'm getting ready to take some trades. So if y'all want to come with me, come with me. It'll be kind of set up like that. It will be very fast paced, because if you guys think NAS is fast paced, which it is, you should try following multiple pairs on the 1 minute time frame with something that actively gives you alerts. So if any of you guys have tried that new indicator out and saw how much you can get from it, it's like mind-blowingly awesome. So for those of you who are not subscribed yet to my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing. You'll get alerts of when we go live. If and when I do that, it will be back. It'll be maybe a week out from now, primarily because I'm going out of town for a week. That will start going live on YouTube with actual scalps from that system, kind of giving you an idea of what to do. So, and of course, for those of you who are part of the advanced membership group, I will obviously clearly still use my system. And in those classes, I'll show you exactly how I combine the two, not only the alerts, but the other nice nifty tools that are very special, genius computer guy has built based off of my strategy. But I'll show you exactly just that. And ultimately, again, you're going to have your compounding sheets on your desk, and to say, hey, if I'm trading Forex pairs, this is the lot size I'm going to take. Hey, if I'm trading indexes, this is the lot size I'm going to take. And ultimately, it's still up to you, because any high risk stuff cannot afford a lot of drawdown. So you need to know that. You need to understand that. No hard feelings. Can't guarantee any percentage of accuracy. I can just say that if you stick with it and you can average anywhere better than 70 to 80% accuracy, there's a high probability, again, it still is going to be subjective to you, that you can grow your account exponentially fast. So the concept to a high volume trading indicator is you can go for, like, let's say 20 pips or 30 pips or 50 pips, some people up to 100 pips in a day. Yes, Jones, the meeting is on. But anyways, you can do that in a day. Sometimes you'll get that done in an hour. Sometimes you'll say, hey, you know what? I'm hungry, or I need more coffee. I'm done trading for the day. But either way, whatever you decided would be totally up to you. What's possible with going in and out of the market like that is you're limiting your exposure in such an intense market that even me, I'm more of a swing trader, like, by nature. But right now, I'm not swing trading. It's just not worth your money to be holding. I mean, there are some strategies that I still think people are doing exponentially well with swing trading. It's just not for me. I'm not willing to risk tens and tens of thousands of dollars or six figures on a single GBP trade that, something happened or somebody felt a certain way. And the perception of that was the issue of this, and this happened. And then boom, it goes totally against you. It's not worth it, at least to me. So hopefully that was super fast speaking. I know I'm infamous for that, but that's kind of the plan for the next coming weeks. Hey, Mark, you're not muted. I see you too, by the way. Okay, so let me make Donna the co-host real quick prior to me moving on. Does anybody have any other questions about that, particularly who's in on the Zoom? Donna, you can check YouTube. I will not give a time or day that I will go live on YouTube. It'll be when I'm trading, which is typically New York. Everybody who knows me knows I am not getting up for London for the most part, although I might consider just jumping on every now and then, seeing what we can find. Because again, that's the whole idea with high volume trades, is you get in, you get out, you get your 2, 5, 3, 7, 10 pips, and then you go on with your day. So that's the concept. But for now, it would primarily be New York. It would be very short, very informal. It would be very 30 minutes or less, not recorded, not reposted, and not necessarily question based, or, hey, I'm going to go through every detail of everything. It's going to be bam, bam. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what we're looking for. Somebody's got this pair. Somebody's got this pair. We take it. We don't. It broke structure or it didn't, and we move on. It's that simple. It will be very only fast paced. So that's the idea. Anybody have any questions on that specifically whatsoever? Anybody at all?
Yeah, Jenny, this is Tim. Can you hear me?
Hey, Tim, how are you?
All right. Thanks for all that you do, and I thank the crowd that you got here. In regards to what you were just saying, is that going to be based mostly on the scanner that Pat just released, or is this just based on the normal thing that we do inside of the We the People group?
It's going to be based on both. So, for example, I mean, I would definitely recommend you look into that. So I will be using kind of both. Now, the blessing is if you're in that We the People group, if you're in
Yes.
the advanced membership group, then you'll kind of get a chance to see it firsthand prior to deciding to purchase it, right? And on the flip side, for those of you who have purchased it, you can obviously maybe participate because God knows I'm only one person. So this is going to be just 10 times more effective if we all work together, if we all can take a look at this and say, okay, here's what's happening here, here's what's happening here, because I can't look at every pair at the same time, right? So it would be in everyone's best interest if at least a few people had it. And I know a few people who are in that group already do have it. So it's not a super big concern, but the high volume trading would be mostly based off of that scanner because there's no other, our system, it can give us alerts, but it would be too many alerts. So even if we change the number of alert arrows we got and increase the level of pairs we were going for and only use the 1 minute, for example, I know this is probably a little bit more in depth than anybody would understand who's not in that group, but even if I did that, there would be so many that you can't look. So the purpose of the scanner is it would be controlled enough that when following, reasonable rules, and you guys know I'm pretty big on that, when following reasonable rules, you could easily bust through 10, 12 alerts. Hey, this one is meeting our needs or it's not. Hey, this one looks like it could meet our needs. So we're going to set a breakout alert. And you guys know what indicator that we use to set alerts. Or hey, this one is on the move. We've looked at structure. We've went to some other time frames and options. Boom, we're taking this. We can only be in one trade at a time based off of that level of risk. And we can kind of go over that too. I guess maybe at the beginning of each one of those sessions, I would pop up that spreadsheet and say, okay, if this is where you're at on a Forex pair today, here's your lot size. And that's what I've seen. The only other really successful compounding group I've seen be successful at helping the masses, quote unquote, compound their account, they had a setup like that where they would pull up the spreadsheet. If your account balance is XYZ, here's your lot size. We're going for one trade today. And we can obviously set it up our own way. Then of course they had 4 to 5 people who were looking essentially and just busted out. Some of them did 1 day a week, some of them did a couple days a week, but you have to use that. I'd have to use a scanner.
Gotcha. Okay, and one other question, if you don't mind me asking about, it's about the scanner.
Absolutely.
I'm going to guess that you're pretty familiar with it. Do you have any suggestions with the scanner as far as like best practices otherwise, as far as maybe what pairs or indices that seem to work best on that, or what times and things like that? Either the time frame of the chart that you're picking, or the times of the day that you might be trading. Is there anything like that? Or because I remember when Pat released Simplicity, he has certain best practices on one of the training parts of it. The best times of the day to trade and things like that. So. And he released that 415 strategy. So I wondered whether there was anything that was kind of like that within the scanner that you know about.
Okay, gotcha. I'm gonna do something like that. I know that Uncle Pia is working on something like that. Obviously, this is all kind of still fresh, so give it time to get, on the website and all that other good stuff. So I guess in short, the answer is yes. I'm gonna go over some of the things that I look for. Now, granted, something I say consistently, everything I say, anything I say is not ever meant to be in conflict or contradiction with somebody else. So for example, if I say, hey, I love these pairs, I love these indices, I love this time frame, I love this setting, and for example, another leader within our company says, hey, no, 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 I like this setting, this pair, and this time frame, please just understand that's differences in people and not necessarily, there is no end all be all.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
All right. Thank you, Jen.
You are welcome. All right. Any other questions, comments in terms of this particular topic?
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Derek, how are you?
I'm all right. I got a question because a lot of people in the group is like, they try to ask, this morning group about you saying about MT4 about to go out and everybody got to have to switch over to MT5 soon because of the brokers or something. Can you explain that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you're one of the people who likes messaged. Yes. I did post that in the group because it's something that everyone kind of needs to be mindful of, especially as we grow and as we adapt. They're just releasing data, and remember, everything we get is second, third, fifth, 19th hand information. So, but ultimately MT4 is said to go away, but they've been saying that for a while, so take that with a grain of salt. Supposedly this is serious now, right? So seriously now, this time for real, and I'm saying that with a bit of sarcasm, it's supposed to go away. So ultimately we do need to have, systems in place that will either A, convert our MT4 indicators, B, some of the companies that make the indicators, it would be in everyone's best interest to start considering, hey, let's go ahead and convert these to MT5, or have an option to, when they purchase a license, for example, say, hey, we will convert and we will honor that license to MT5, which is, those are things we need to consider. That's all. So I know that I'm trying to get some of my stuff converted. I know a guy who does a thing. I've asked another guy who does a thing. I got a system that does a thing. Most of the things aren't that great so far, but it's a work in progress. So.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for covering that.
You're welcome.
And
Wow.
how many years they've been saying that?
I know, but now they got the new one out. They're saying the MT6 is coming.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So they're saying that for real this time it's going away. So I don't know. Like, you're more of a tech genius than me, so you probably know better than me.
Yeah, that's why I laughed when I read it. But I was like, okay, they've been saying that, you know.
You
That's
laughed
why
at me.
Scott's still running XP on his computers.
That's because he's like a computer genius, though. So most of us are not computer geniuses to be doing that sort of thing.
But yeah, it makes sense. I just wish they would have enhanced MT4, but it is what it
You and
is.
me both, right?
Yeah, it's just, that's life.
And
We
that's
got to
true.
make that cutoff. Yeah. Okay.
Amen. Hey, for
I,
those of you who have not used MT5, it is a bit faster. So I
Mhm.
would still recommend, maybe you're just playing around, maybe you're working on charting or some naked stuff. I would highly recommend having an MT5 screen up,
Yep.
just to kind of see the difference in price, the speed in settings, just to get familiar with it. Because obviously, especially when you have actual money that pays your bills, money that you depend on in this account, and all of a sudden you switch to this unfamiliar system and you're learning all this stuff, you're talking about a learning curve that is emotional and painful. So either way, it's in your best interest to start fiddling around with MT5 for sure.
yeah, it's going to be scalable and everything. Yeah, so it's got to be a lot better.
Yes, that's right.
We just need the other applications to work with it.
Yeah, that's true. We desperately do. For real.
Hey,
All right.
Jenny, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir. iPhone, how can I help you? What's your name?
Steve,
Hey,
how are you?
Steve. Wonderful. And yourself?
Doing great. A little busy with the kids, getting back to this virtual schooling. I feel like
Okay.
I'm back in school all over again.
I don't envy you at all.
At all. I got a question pertaining to the scanner. With the two license, are you able to put those on two different live accounts?
Yes.
You are? Okay.
I mean, he's saying one live, one demo, but ultimately, if you were asking my personal advice as a human being, I would say a scanner is going to send you alerts. So I would have you just download one of them and then save the other one for a rainy day, or save it for a demo account, like preferably a AFX demo account, because that one's reloadable, for example. But that's how I would do it. I would either A, only download one for now, or B, I would ensure that one of the ones I downloaded was from AFX, because that demo account is at least reloadable. So if you ever blow it, God forbid, you can reload the pretend money into the demo account, and then you never have to get rid of that demo account ever.
Right. Definitely. So I definitely have an AFX live account. That's my broker of choice that I like using. So I just thought I'd ask, but I was also looking into another broker also. So that's why I was asking if you'd be able to use them on two different live accounts was all.
Yeah, you can. Hey, just so
okay,
you know,
cool.
I love me some AFX. I have a referral link
Me
for that.
too.
But, and this is a big but, please know that you can't, it's not advisable to scalp with that. Like, not at all.
Gotcha. Yeah. I know the spreads are higher, especially on the US 30, and that's definitely my pair that I religiously trade off of daily, basically. But I know the spread is like 55. I'm not sure what what the other spreads are with. I think there was another broker that you were recommending for scalping purposes, especially for the
Cheaper play.
indices.
Yeah,
Yes, that one.
play. So it's only got technically 25% of the leverage or the leverage, but it's still my favorite broker for the indices. Like it's just consistent. Like I'm not trying to get in and out of a high lot size trade on Dow Jones with that much stacked against me if I'm not looking to hold that. So the value of AFX is obviously the leverage and the fact that they have no swap fees. So if I'm not gaining 50% of what their value is, I don't want to play that. So I'll have to hold off on that. So
US 30 on Hugo's way is 38.
So it's almost half. What is it right now on AFX? Just out of curiosity.
That I don't know. I don't have AFX pulled up.
Hey, Derek or Steven, what does AFX have on US 30 right now?
Say that again, Jenny.
What does AFX have for a spread for US 30 right now?
I think once the Asian session opens up, it opens up at 55.
It's not open right now?
Yeah, it's open. Yeah, it's open. It's back open. And I know it closes for like an hour, and then it reopens, but it's definitely 55 during the Asian session.
Yeah, so Gladiator, thank you. Gladiator said in the chat that it's 55, so gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, any other questions in terms of that before I go to my screen? Anybody else have any questions at all in terms of the scanner, the things that are coming, YouTube, the advanced membership group, all that other good stuff? Anybody at all?
Yeah, hey Jenny, this is Myron.
Hi, Myron. How are you?
I'm good. I have a question about the scanner. It's about the trend time that you can adjust in the settings. I know Uncle P had his set to 5, but I think it's defaulted at 15. I'm trying to understand what does the alteration of that do?
It speeds it up and slows it down. So have you tried playing with it?
Well, I mean, I'm actually trying to play with it, but I'm trying to learn exactly what it is. Like, does it matter if I put it on 1, 5, 10, 15? Like, what is it telling me?
Okay, it's telling it. So it's an algorithm, obviously, it's proprietary. So the smaller the number, the faster and the less confirmed the how do you say signals are going to be.
Oh, so the higher the number, the stronger the confirmation.
The higher the number, the stronger, but also the slower. So remember, when we go for that whole confirmed move, it's typically a slower move. When we go for the baby kind of baby moves, the let me just get a little bit, a taste kind of thing, it's often a less confirmed move. And it's not always the case, but often that's the case.
Okay. What's your favorite setting to have that placed?
I'm coming. I will show you that here in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this share. Let's go to a new share. Hopefully this stuff works okay. Potentially. Let's find out together. So share screen, go to the VPS. It should, in theory, be stationed at the right. Ew, yay, good job. So it is. Yay. That means what I did earlier worked, and it almost never works. So that makes me getting happy. So, okay. Having said that, so what are my settings? As you guys know, this is the strategy. I don't know if he released that or if that YouTube video is public or not. So I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. And I'm really trying not to do that. So let me try to do this. Okay. As you guys know, this is the simplicity scanner. So what it does is it can find trades based off of certain settings, very comparable to simplicity without the actual simplicity indicator. Now, mind you, it is missing a few confirmations in the algorithm, which for better and for worse, like anything else, it's a give and take, just like anything. So if we have less of those confirmations, oftentimes you're going to have a cleaner chart, clearer signals, faster signals, but also a little bit less accurate signals. if we have more confirmations with any kind of a trade, a lot of times you're going to have less signals, fewer signals, slower signals, but slightly more accurate. So then you have to decide all the variables that go into this. And what I mean by that is I'll have to first and foremost go to the settings. So let's start with that. So let's go to properties. If I can find it, let's try this again. Indicators. Huh. You would think I know how to do this. Oh, there you go. Expert advisors. I was like, there's not an option. So I'll move past that. So when my pin and everything is out of the way, currently, guys, these are the pairs that I have on here. For me, any pairs more that I put on here than this is an awful, and I mean awful lot of noise. Like it's an insane amount of noise. I can tell you that the spread on Australian 200 is too high for me to be willing to scalp it. Just having watched it for a few days now, it's just too high for me. It doesn't mean it might not be good for you. It just means for me, it's too high. So let's see, GBP USD. Notice how most of them are USD pairs. The reason why most of them are USD pairs is plain and simple. They have the lowest spreads across all brokers, across the board. Most of the time, 99% of the time, they're going to be the best bang for your buck in terms of the cost to actually take the trade. And since high volume trading has a lot to do with no spread, low spread, or limited spread, the most important thing to me either is massive moves and massive money or no spread. So that's where those pairs come from. And obviously, I like GBP NZD because it's a high volume trader. It moves a lot. And Euro NZD also moves a lot too. Both pairs being less, it's not worth as much. So just something to keep in mind. That is literally how I have it set up. So to keep going down, you have all kinds of different options. Currently, I have mine set to true for push and true for alert, but I basically have two of these saved. So I have one template saved in one way, another template saved in another way. And the one that I'm going to use for live classes is going to be what we would consider high volume. It's going to turn on the 1 minute. Okay. Of course it's going to do that. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can't get control of this silly window. There we go. It will turn on the 1 minute. And I can't promise, this is Asian session, so not a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. But that's what it's going to have on is the 1 minute and the 5 minute. And how many alerts you get in the span of an hour is insane. Like it's painfully insane. So the odds are I would probably have to turn this down first and foremost and limit this to be effective when we do live scalping using this system. But for me personally, what I'm doing is I just have the 5 minute turned on. Everything else you'll notice is turned off. I do also have it opening up at the 5 minute chart. And I will be transparent when I say this is not the template that I use when it's just me, but it is the template I'm going to have to use when I show you. So, because the other template has things that are not only based private to Super EZ and that group, they're also private to the Super EZ Advanced Membership group. And that's the actual template that I would be using off screen. You guys would not be able to see that if you're not part of those groups. But that's kind of how I would set up. So for this time, it's set up that when you click on one of those pairs, it's going to open a template and it's going to show you exactly what's up. I really wish there was a way to change which side of the screen this showed up on, but there's not, as far as I know, unless somebody else has figured it out and I just don't know. Donna, are you there?
Yes.
Did somebody figure out how to move this over or no?
No.
Huh. Well, I can't move it over, so
Not
I
to my
can't.
knowledge.
Okay, well, I don't think there's a way, at least as far as I know, to move it over. So ultimately what's going to happen is, and let me turn it back on actually so you guys can see what happens when we get that, and then we'll discuss best practices. So properties, let's turn the 1 minute back on real quick, just so you guys can see what happens when we get all those alerts. For those of you who don't yet have it, it's a lot of noise, no joke, for sure, a ton of noise, painfully a lot of noise. So you have to pick pretty wisely which pairs you wanted and or save different templates of this for, like, when you're in front of your computer, you want this for these pairs. When you're away from your computer, you want this for these pairs, that sort of thing. So now that it's on, give it a second. You'll have some things pop up. I can't promise how much or when because we are an Asian session and the market doesn't really start moving again really heavily for another 30 minutes. And even then, that's low volume heavy, if you will. So it doesn't really move too much around this time frame for this particularly. But here's what happens. If we were to be taking a trade, and this time I'm going to move this over now. So what I'm going to do while I'm off screen is I'm going to click on one of these, and then it's going to open up a new window. So now I'm going to move this over. Silly me. If it will let me shrink it versus move it. Maybe. There we go. So now it's moved over. So once I click on that symbol, for example, USD CAD, okay, I'm going to get a screen that kind of looks like this. Now, granted, this is not the exact screen that I'm going to have for me to make decisions off of. So I'm going to be transparent and tell you that right up front across the board. But just to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. So when we get a signal, okay, we're going to get an alert. Let's turn this off so it doesn't automatically reset and give you guys, make dizzy spells. We're going to get an alert when this candle closes. So now I'm going to zoom in, and I will actually do two of them because they're right next to each other. That's kind of a great example. And I probably could make those arrows a bit smaller. But here's the deal. You're going to get an alert the second this candle closes. So keep in mind, it's already going to be quote unquote late. And you just saw what it was set at. So there we go. That means this is the price point in which you got it. So you got it at this price point, right? Is when, give or take, obviously, what's happening on the next candle. From there, he's got his own set of rules for those of you who already have the system. You can choose how you want to use that, how you want to follow that, and whatever. Hold on, we just got an alert, so I want to show you what happens. US 35 minutes. Oopsie, that's not the same thing. Nope, not an alert for that. I fibbed. So moving on. Sorry, my chat was in the way, so I couldn't read it. So you're getting an alert. You're going to get it to your phone. You're going to get a pop-up. You're going to text messages depending on what you have said. From there, your job is to analyze this trade and decide if you want to take it. So a lot of questions in the chat now to get ready to talk about the chat, all those questions that we had in there, because ultimately that's kind of what we're here for. So one of the questions was, how do you know where to place your stop? How many pips you're going for? What rules or criteria am I looking for before I would take a signal based off of this? Now, I'm going to say again, this is a counter trend reversal pullback, quote unquote, anti-trend trading system. In general, it's giving you notification of reversals more so than continuations. So you need to know that in terms of how you trade, and you need to be clear of that up front across the board in every level. So having said that, you have to now decide if you're going to be, if you're going to maintain that whole concept of I am a trend trader, which means you would have to do your job of going to the higher time frames. You need to check the 4 hour, the 1 hour, or the 30 minute, or the 15 minute. Now, if you don't want to do that and you're saying, hey, I'm looking to use this as a high volume trade system, I'm looking to find my 5 or 6 trades in the morning or whatever time I'm trading for that good hour or two, and then I'm looking to walk away. I don't care if US 30 drops 1,000 pips and I'm, at the mall. I don't give a darn if, I'm getting my nails done and this happens and people make billions of dollars. I just want to be on point when I'm in front of my computer. So if you're that person, then of course you're going to need to be looking more at structure. You're going to be needing to look more at support and resistance, and obviously trend lines. And that's something we talk about quite regularly, especially in the other group, the advanced membership group on the website. And we talk about that all the time because that's literally the foundation of any good trading system is structure. It's support, resistance, supply, demand. I mean, it sounds so simple and elementary because it is. It really is. And there's no indicator that is going to forego that information. So that's what you'd be looking for. And that is what I am looking for. So for example, when I got this signal, and this was today, right before, right before market close, that's a little bit of an iffy one, not fun at all, obviously, because this is right before market closes. So you have to understand your spread is going to be enormous at this time. This pair does not have a high ATR, high ADR. It doesn't move, a lot of pips in a day. It definitely moves more than it did a year ago, but still not a whole bunch. So the first thing you're going to ask yourself is, okay, so this is the candle I got. Is the next candle, does it break above or below this? So if you never get higher than the candle you got the alert on, you have no trade. It doesn't matter if you've broken a trend line. It doesn't matter if you pulled past support. It doesn't matter if you broke a fractal. It does not matter what your oscillators are telling you. Nothing matters at all. So this arrow is not valid, at least for me and Jenny's rules, until your next candles go higher than the one that you got the alert on. And you'll notice it's not going to be foolproof. You're still going to have losses, but for the most part, that's going to keep you out of the few that do reverse, the few that do change their mind. So that's 101. Simply don't do it. It'll stop you from a lot of bad trades. So here we are, the next candle. Obviously, you need to be able to look at this and say, okay, so from here, where's the next level of structure? So now I'm going to zoom it out, make it kind of ugly so you guys can see more. Maybe. There we go. Get that back on the screen. So pretending like we don't see that this is a winner to the best of our human ability, right? Pretending like all we see on the chart is it ends here and we don't see that that actually did play out. Your job is to analyze this and say, so what do I see? So your next level of structure by the time we do make that next high is here. That's only 8 pips away. So you have to decide if that's worth it based off of how many pips you're taking. Because remember, the next level of where price has stopped at is right in and around here. Okay. So that's what I would be measuring is 8 pips worth it? And from there, where are you putting your stop loss? For me, my stop loss is going to be actually pretty comparable to Pat's in this scenario. It's going to be slightly bigger than the most recent set of highs. So this is a lot of candles. I don't know exactly how many candles this is. From when you get this arrow back to here, that's, what is that, 39 candles? That's 75 candles. So I'm looking at the highest high or the lowest low in the last 40-ish candles. That's where my stop is going to be. So sometimes it's going to be too big and it's not going to be worth the risk. Sometimes it's going to be dead on and hey, that's worth my risk. So if my stop loss, give or take, is around here, right? It needs to be, just outside of structure in case we get a retest. And my entry was, so now's got a sell signal just now. We can take a look at that too. So if my entry was here, I need to be willing to say, okay, so my stop loss is given around 15 pips. Next form of structure is only 8. And if we break through there, the next form of structure is going to be in and around here. Is this trade worth taking? That's kind of how I would be analyzing this trade and this signal personally, is this has to be enough room. And obviously you can't do an 8 pip trade on an AFX account ever. You can't do that. It's just not, you're only going to get maybe 2 or 3 out of that, no matter how you're managing it. So that's legit all I'm looking for. Now, I'm not using this per se. I'm using something a little bit different down here. You guys all kind of know exactly what that is. For the person in the chat who asked, the scanner is run separately. Those are separate. So, but does that help you kind of understand what exactly it is and what it is we're doing with it? So here's what this looks like real quick while I have you guys on here. Now it's got a sell signal on the 5-minute. It will go away pretty rapidly. I'm not sure exactly. He says it's because he wants only people taking fresh signals versus other signals. So you got your alert, 5-minute time frame, ta-da, sell signal, same kind of concept. So here we are. I am going to look at structure. We got the candle. We got the alert on this candle. So I'm looking for this candle. That means a body, not a wick, to close below this, below this area is what I need to see happen before I can make that decision. No matter what else I see, nothing else matters until I see that at all. So I don't care if everything lines up in my favor and it looks like the most beautiful, perfect trade. That's going to keep me out of the most noise, the most drama, the most everything. So that's kind of what I'm looking for first and foremost in terms of this. And I don't usually trade NAS at this time of night, but you can see the spread isn't horrible, even on this broker. And this is a baby live account. So that's whatever, 40 some oddish pips. So not horrible, but that's what we're looking for first and foremost is I need to see a full body close below the previous level of structure, which is here. From there, I'm going to zoom out and kind of make it ugly and say, okay, so if we do get this pullback, which is a counter trend trade for anybody who trades NAS, they know that this is a massively upward trend. We'd have to measure to say if we do get the break, oopsie, how much is this worth? So that right there isn't even 10 pips. Well, barely 10 pips. I don't love that, but I see it. And then from there, the next level of structure that I'm seeing is going to be here. If we get that break, and obviously my stop loss is going to need to be above the previous structure. So then you have to determine if your risk is worth the reward. That's literally all you're doing. Does that kind of help you understand what I'm looking for, how I'm using it? I hear somebody unmuted.
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, so that's literally it. Now on the 1 minute, it's gonna be a lot faster. It's gonna be a lot less pips, no matter what. Whole bunch less pips. So for the person in the chat, Ellie, if you guys can speak up, by all means, unmute yourself to ask questions. But Ellie, to answer your question, my answer across the board is yes, higher time frames are more accurate across the board in general, almost every strategy. Like, that's my opinion. Is it valid? Probably not. But I will also say, in today's market, with half the world collapsing, companies are closing left and right, there's no numerical sense for all of our US 30s and NAS 100s to be shooting up, for S&P 500 to have made all-time highs again. So we finally broke above. There's no, I don't want to say that, but fundamentally, we don't have a lot of data that's supporting the drive of the market. So our market right now is this perceptive based illusion. I'm going to say the word illusion, that is very unsafe. So it's unsafe in terms of the value of the US dollar. There is no gold to back the US dollar. There's the election. There is COVID. There's just massively impending bankruptcies, houses, mortgages that have not been getting paid, right? There's tenants who have not been, paying rent. There's a whole stinking bunch of stuff happening, economically speaking, and not just for America, but for every country. You can't shut that many businesses down, that many doors, that many corporations, that many schools, that many people out of jobs, that many mortgages not being paid, that many car dealerships that stopped making cars, and then expect the world to just pick up. I know that our world wants us to think that that's possible, but numbers don't add up. That's not going to happen. So my answer across the board is, for now, if you want to get good at something and stay good at it for the next 2 years, it's probably best to scalp. And that's all. Like, again, yes, Dawn, the sun will come out tomorrow. It will.
Hey, Jenny.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Jeremiah here.
Hey, Jeremiah.
How you doing? You were saying that this the sell signal here, that it disappears after a while, right?
No, this won't disappear. So even if it repaints.
Uh-huh.
Oh man. There we go. Sorry, I can't get this off my screen, but there we go.
But just the indicator telling you that the signal's there disappears.
No, let me show you. I'll show you what I mean. 97531 at Gmail. There we go. So let me close this. Hopefully it will close. Huh. That's weird. It's not going away. Bear with me. Let me get that off my screen real quick. It's not going away. It's being a pain. So this isn't going to go away. So even if this turns out to be wrong, you're going to have a dot on there that shows you that one did technically, quote unquote, repaint. So even if that did happen, you're still going to have evidence of it. It doesn't disappear. Okay. Just so you know what disappears. So maybe, I'm sorry, that was definitely bad verbiage of me, but end task. Let's go. There we go. So you'll see this is kind of what you're going to get, a whole bunch of signals very, very, very fast. Like it happens so quickly, you can't possibly check them all. But to show you what I mean is this. So you'll see this right here isn't going to be here anymore. So this will go away after so many minutes. I think it's after however many minutes it's set to. I can't confirm, but that's what I'm kind of seeing personally.
Okay.
So the whole idea is that when you come to the screen, you don't have 9,000 old signals. When you come to the screen, and granted, I do wish it stuck around a little longer, but I totally understand and value why he did what he did in terms of that. Because could you imagine now having this, now having those other two, now having this, you would have so many options. You would be all over the place. So, it's not, It's not super great idea. So now if we click on this, for example, there we go. This is what you're going to see. That was a 1 minute alert. So I have to go to the 1 minute chart. There it is. Right? Easy buy signal 1 minute. So you got all these signals for NZD. Clearly NZD is kind of starting to move. So back to this, we know that Euro NZD gave us a signal 2. It'll pop up on whatever template you have it saved open. And then boom, there you go. Kind of same concept. So this is 1 minute chart. Then you have to decide how many pips is this good for? You'd be saying, okay, so this is only a 5 pip, give or take move. Can I get my 5 pips out of it? Problem in the deficit across the board, no matter what, is most of the time scalping does not come with a great risk to reward. Now, there are some people who tout the probability and possibility of little to no drawdown. There are some people who teach and preach that you can do all this with a 3 pip stop loss. I have just yet to see that in any shape, way, or form consistently work time and time again. I've seen it perform for a moment. Like, it's just like anything else. So how do you say, like, highlight reels are always exciting, right? Highlight reels are fun and they're amazing. And when you see somebody do something one time, you're thinking, wow, that's amazing. But if you can't duplicate that, if you can't get to the deeper levels of that, it's just, it's temporary. So I've yet to see it kind of perform longer than that highlight reel of woohoo, look at me, I did it once. I've yet to see it kind of be consistent and come through time after time.
Gotcha. I have one more question.
Yep.
I saw in Uncle Pete's video, he said this will work on any strategy.
Mhm.
Can you program more than one strategy into it at a time?
I lovingly did not love that verbiage. So here's the thing. When he says it can work with every strategy, here's what he means. So again, here's the signals that we're getting. It happens really quickly. And notice we're getting the ones that are relevant to this session. But just to kind of move along for a half a minute here, let's go to our expert advisor. Here's what he means. So I understand him because I've worked with him for a long time. But for the people who don't understand, here's what this actually means. Enter the template name you want to drop on the chart. So this is going to decide. So it's not wrong, but it's not right. Let me say it that way. So you can speed this up or slow this down based off of the trend period. So if you're using a very slow based kind of system, and let's say you're using structure, you're using supply and demand or what have you, and you're waiting for a bounce, for example, on your S30, you're waiting for, XYZ to match and you're just waiting. You can turn this to be fast. You can turn this to be slow based off of your pre-existing rules for whatever pair you were looking at. And of course, you can have different templates of this saved to where you can just load a different chart setup. And then, okay, you know that this is for your structured trading strategy. So in that respect, he's right. And then of course, when I click on one of these pairs to the side, the template that's going to open up for me to quote unquote analyze my trade is whatever one I decide. So in that respect, yes, of course, it is definitely, it is something you can use with multiple strategies, and you can program this multiple ways and drop multiple versions on the chart. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, awesome.
Jenny, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Wonderful. And yourself?
I'm okay. Hi, my question is, I hear you teaching, and I'm looking at your settings, and so I'm looking at the 5 minute. If I get a signal on a 5 minute, an alert on the 5 minute, and everything confirms lines up, do you suggest just taking that trade on the 5 minute, or should I drop down to the 1 minute and enter in?
For this, set at this, particularly this, I would definitely use a singular time frame, because look, the 1 minute is really choppy, just to show you. I mean, a lot of times, especially on a high spread broker, this isn't even enough to really get any money out of it. Not for every pair, but anything that's not a GBP pair, it's just not enough. Some basic rules will keep you out of the bad trades. I mean, for the most part, granted, but either way, this is not smooth. This is not sexy. It's not good. But this, on the other hand, way, way better. So I would just say stick with the time frame you got the alert on. This, for example, gave us a sell signal. This is what I meant when I said it will give you evidence that it was there. So, but again, you should not have taken this trade because it never made a lower low from where the candle was at. This one right here did. It just took a bunch of time to do so. This one right here. There we go. Better save that. Okay, so you can kind of see what happens for good and bad. I mean, no secrets, no holding back. This shows you everything. I mean, everything.
Yes.
So I would probably veer away from being on multiple charts just because 90% of the time it's going to contradict. More often than not, it's going to be giving you more information than you bargained for. You're going to bite off more than you can chew, and you're going to have spent more time to get less results versus saying, okay, I have valid rules for a quick scalp. For example, if you were doing a high volume trading strategy, something like the IML web analyzer used to be, where they go for 2 or 3 pips, for example. And you said, okay, this is what I'm taking. I'm taking this for 2 or 3 pips. I understand my risk. My probability of being right is high enough that I don't care that my loss is larger. I don't care what the other time frames are doing. I'm just looking for my piece of the pie, and then I'm going to walk. So I would stick to a singular time frame. That's how I would use this.
Okay.
And keep in mind, Uncle P talked about something this morning, and it's something I think many of us, including myself, we often forget. When it comes time again to swing trade, when it comes time again to safely position trade, we technically don't even need an alert. We can check it for 20, 30 minutes in the morning. We can get a massage. We can volunteer at the nature center. We can go to the elderly home and volunteer there, and we can come back in the afternoon and prep dinner, spend 20 minutes, looking at the chart, and still be able to catch those 4-hour moves. We don't need an alert system like this for 4-hour moves. We need an alert for the high volume, small pip kind of moves. That's the whole concept of what makes this valuable at all.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for your question. A couple people in the chat says, how do you shrink the scanner to see it completely on my chart? Honestly, I don't know how to France, but you can't. So you have to take away some of your pairs. Notice how mine is not bombarded. Mine is pretty reasonably cleaned. Like it doesn't have 5,000. So you can have X amount here and X amount here, but any more than that X amount, and you've got too much. So you probably, first off, you can't trade that much at the same time anyways. You can't be in that many pairs. Even if you're only going for like a fraction of a percent per trade, you can't be over leveraged that much anyways. So you may as well pick your favorites and, do your due diligence and go on with it. Worst case, if you got an alert on NZD, you would potentially have the know-how that, hey, the NZD pairs are moving. I'm going to check all of them real quick because I don't like this setup. I might like the other setup. But that's that.
Appreciate that, Jenny.
Hey, how's it going? You're welcome. All right, so a couple other questions in the chat real quick. Higher time frames are safer. Not right now. I kind of went into a soapbox on that. Do I still use simplicity alongside the scanner? You don't have to, but you can. How do you shrink it? Can't do it. Who teaches? So Elvis, he's a guy, he actually lives outside of Tampa, if I'm not mistaken. Him and his wife, he is a serial entrepreneur, kind of like myself, actually. He dabbles in many different businesses, granted different than me per se, but he definitely is a dabbler and is definitely a great trader. So he mostly trades Ichimoku cloud system, and he's not often wrong. So his trades play out differently. His strategy is different. I can't testify to it. I can't understand it. I don't know it, but I know that it works for him, and I know that he's an amazing trader. So he does classes on Monday nights in the advanced group. And then of course, him and Uncle P do a lot of signals. I veered away from signals mostly toward the end of last year, early this year, because the swinging was just different. And I have my strengths and my weaknesses, but I stopped doing what doesn't work. I guess that's a strength of mine in relationships and other things. If it doesn't work and it is not doing what it's supposed to do, I stop. It's very, very simple. So I stopped giving signals. There is a chance that if I stick with all this, I will go back to doing signals when all this is said and done. But for now, if my accuracy is not better than 75-ish%, I have zero interest in sending out that signal. So, and just the whole market went crazy at the beginning of the year, and I wasn't liking it. So I think I was the first one to stop swinging. And then finally, I know Elvis and Irving and a couple other people outside of this group. And even Uncle P now is like, yeah, this swing is not working so much. It's too much. There's too many that are going against you. So yes, I also teach a class in there a couple of times a week as well. So anybody else have any questions in terms of this particularly? Let's take a look at what Naz did, just out of curiosity. Let's take a look. So guys, when you get the signal, granted this is a slightly higher time frame than the ones we'd be using, and it's definitely a different time zone than the one we'd be trading in, but how do you stay out of the ones that reset? It's a very simple method. It's a very simple approach. It's don't take trades that have not pushed any further. So this one, you get a signal, you have to wait until here, until you actually, sorry about that. That's my Apple products you guys all know and love so much. This is what that looks like when you get the signal. All those come in and these will disappear. So if I click on it, you'll get a chance to see what that looks like. Say, okay, we got a sell signal on this time frame. We got a buy signal on this time frame, such and so forth. For the 1 minute, you have a split second to decide. At least for the five minute, you have some room. So that's what we're going to be looking at mostly. All right. Any other questions, comments, anything about this per se exactly? Did I answer everyone's questions from the chat? Let's take a look at gold. At least gold would be a high.
Jenny.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. What's that pip indicator you have right there on the right, the 0.0?
That one's just a pip counter. Let's see. Silly butt. There we go. So it's in the group. It's in a couple of different groups. This one is called pipometer decimal. And the cool thing about this one is, unlike the one that goes here, the cool thing about this one is it gives you all the pips, I think, for every trade that you're in, not just one. I like it, and it doesn't move. So it's
okay.
Good.
Thank
Definitely
you.
Good. You're welcome. You are welcome. All right, last time I'm going to ask no more. So any other questions, comments in terms of this strategy, in terms of this indicator, in terms of entering, exiting, or how best to use it, anything at all that I can help you with tonight?
Jen, just did you mention what day of the week you might be doing those live trading?
So Tim, here's what I'm thinking. As you know, I'm going to Arizona Thursday, and then I have a couple of other small things that are mostly weekend based after that, but otherwise I'll be mostly home. So what I'd like to do is continue the Tuesday night beginners class, and I'm going to talk to Uncle P about moving that to twice a month. Because if there's not enough people with questions, it's not cost effective or time effective
Right.
in terms of my time to keep doing live calls. So if I do that, what I would do is I would still do Tuesdays and then every other week, Tuesday night would be part of like what we do now. Of course, I want to add some more strategies in there and do some other things too, but our strategy works and it's pretty awesome. So can't beat that. And then what I was thinking was Wednesday mornings, particularly Wednesday is a really good day, at least for me. Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday are when I trade the most. Mondays, not as much. Fridays, if I'm in town. So the times where I would randomly go live would probably be Friday, if I'm in town. And then of course the times where I would just go live would be Wednesday, Thursday, kind of that kind of concept is when I would want to use something like this. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. And honestly, so my children, and not to be too personal, but they go back to school next week. So I would like to start a little bit earlier than New York Open, because you would catch kind of that first move that happens right before New York Open, and then you'd catch the volume move that happens after New York Open. So that would allow us to catch two on any given US pair or indices. So that's when I catch most of my money, is like at 8 a.m. Eastern time. I mean, by 8:30, I'm already done with at least 1 to 2 trades. And then we don't often go live until 9.
Right. Yeah.
And we talk for like 20 minutes before we take a trade.
Yeah, that's because New York doesn't open till 9:30. So.
Well, that's the stock exchange. The stock market, so that's the Nas 100, pump some volume in there, but the rest of the market is open and is paying people. We just have to be willing to go with the flow of wherever it's going. So.
Jenny?
There was somebody else saying, Jenny, how can I help you?
Yes, this is Mark. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mark. How are you?
Very good. Yourself?
Fantastic. Blessed to be here.
Yes. Question is this called the Easy Easy Trader? What you're using right now?
This is called the Easy Scanner. Am I right? Does anybody want to correct me?
Yeah, I'm just saying, but on the charts, what I'm seeing right now.
This is called the Super EZ Scanner, Easy Pips.
Easy
Anybody
Pip.
wanna-
That's it. Easy Pip.
Okay. I was like, somebody correct me for the love of God before I keep talking. Hold on. Let me go. Let me go to the website. So how to install the scanner dashboard.
Excuse me, Jenny.
Yes, sir.
It's Tony here. I'm pretty sure I heard Pat call it something like easy money. He calls it easy money, but not quite sure if that's right on the site.
Okay. So what Tony said, let's go off of him today. Okay, guys?
Okay.
It's called the Easy Pip. It's the Easy Pip.
So I
Easy
was
Pip,
okay.
I like easy money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy something. Okay. Y'all can.
It's so easy, we don't even know what it is. Huh?
We don't even know how to say it. I mean, this is a whole nother level of intelligence. You guys.
This is another language.
Hey, Donna, isn't there like a rap song that's like, oh, come on, like same old G, like the Super EZ? Come on, y'all know like those rap songs by Easy something. I know I'm not crazy.
That's going gangster on us now. Having IML flashbacks.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Actually, Elvis has a song out about a Forex song that's pretty good.
Elvis, the guy who teaches?
Yeah, he's got a really good one out.
He's got a song. Wait a minute. Donna, I'm gonna need you to play that song like ASAP.
Yeah, play it.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool song. I like it. It's very good.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to find it and I'll play it.
Elvis and Kanye together, huh?
Okay, that's it. We're gonna hang out for a few more minutes. If y'all don't like hanging out, by all means, you guys can say goodnight. But I want to hear the song that Elvis is rapping to, because I like to laugh before I go to bed.
Exactly. I'm about to say, oh boy, Elvis being gangster. Well, he is Jamaican, so. Yeah.
I just know I love it. Like, and I listen to all kinds of funny songs.
It's good to have Jamaican buddies.
Y'all know, you would know.
That's probably not going to be too helpful during a.
What is that? Y'all know y'all would laugh at me if I put out a song. Y'all have laughed at me when I've sung in public, so I get to laugh too. Donna, I want that song.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Definitely make for a promising option.
I'm gonna play it from my phone. So it's a Forex song. So hold on, let me see if I can. It's gonna come from my phone, so we'll see how loud it gets. But hold on, here we go.
No, it's bootleg.
Legendary. You heard about the foreign currency exchange?
Oh my gosh, that's so good. He did good. It's hilarious.
Tell him to stay trading.
Okay. Donna, how do I get that song? Do I have to download it?
I will. I guess I'll forward it to you. It was on his Facebook, but he has sent it to me on another thing, so I'll forward it to you.
All right, we'll
There's a
jam.
video, and he's got a video and everything.
I'll jam out to that tomorrow morning before our call. Okay. honestly, it's pretty good. Like you can hear the Jamaican, and it's goofy, silly because he's talking about currency and US dollar, but it's good.
I know when he sent it to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. I was like jamming out to it.
I would totally jam onto that. I would dance around to that song, no problem. It's serious. All right, guys. Well, yes, if you live in Florida, we need to have a get together. Prior to COVID, actually, Elvis and I were gonna work on something along those lines, but with COVID, any of the locations and stuff, things went to, a lot of stuff changed in the last 6 months, not just for me, but for everybody. So, anytime, Scotty. And as for everybody else, please, 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 if you have questions, pop them in the chat, write them down, and come to class, because they often get whitewashed in groups. They often get forgotten. And of course, we think they're not important. But every question you have is important. It's massively important. And the more you understand, the better trader you're going to be. The more you're going to evolve, the more you're going to grow. And it's this industry can change your life. I mean, the kind of lifestyle when you go get a massage and you hear from this mother and she's got a kid, and you like literally think about, okay, so I could, you think about blessing people in a way different way. And I don't mean like small ways. I mean like life changing ways. You can not only change your world, but you can change everyone around you's world with this, Forex rap song and this weird girl from Florida talking to you about nonsense. And I can't even remember the name of this indicator, but this industry can change your world if you let it. So that's kind of my message for tonight. Anybody else? I hope you guys have an amazing evening. Thank you for constantly coming to hang out. And I will talk to you soon. For those of you who are in the advanced membership group, we are going live again tomorrow. So that's going to be 50 hours in a row of talking. So bear with me tomorrow morning and hope you guys all have a great night. Take care and God bless.
Thank you, Jenny.
Good night,
All right.
guys.
God bless everybody.
Mwah. Love you guys.
Thank you, Jenny.